Pennsylvania became the eyewitness of a failed assassination of the former President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, on the 13th July 2024. In this killing spree, however, a bystander, Corey Compratore, died, and 2 others were injured before the killer was shot and killed by Secret Service agents. This assassination was carried out by a 20-year-old man who fired 8 rounds at the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. However, the question that is baffling the internet is that Crooks had little to no interest in politics, and also he had no certain connections with Joe Biden or other competitors of Donald Trump. So why did Thomas Matthew Crooks try to assassinate Donald Trump? Is this an assassination or a staged plan? Did Joe Biden plan this assassination? Why Joe Biden is not contesting elections this time? How could the top-notch security of Donald Trump could not sense this danger when the bystanders had already seen Crooks with a gun? Or did the security purposefully ignore Crooks' action? These are the questions that are going to be answered in this video, so make sure to watch it till the end. The assassination plan. The rally on July 13, 2024, in Butler, Pennsylvania, was scheduled to start at 5 p.m. at the Butler County Farm Show grounds. Doors opened at 1 p.m., allowing attendees to gather early and participate in pre-rally activities. This event was significant as it was one of Trump's last major campaign stops before the Republican National Convention, set to begin on July 15, 2024, in Milwaukee. The rally was part of Trump's campaign efforts in key battleground states like Pennsylvania. Security measures were expected to be stringent, considering the high-profile nature of the event and Trump's status as a former president and current presidential candidate. The rally was set up to include speeches, with Trump as the keynote speaker, and possibly other notable figures from his campaign and political allies. On the other hand, this is how Matthew Crooks prepares for his plans. Crooks arrived at Butler, Pennsylvania, prior to Trump's rally. He positioned himself on the rooftop of a building approximately 400 feet from the stage where Trump would be speaking. This vantage point gave him a clear line of sight while providing some cover and distance from the crowd and security. Crooks used an AR-15 style rifle, a semi-automatic firearm capable of rapid firing. This rifle was legally purchased by his father. During the rally, Crooks waited until Trump was addressing the crowd. He fired 8 shots toward the stage, one of which struck Trump in the upper right ear. Other bullets tragically hit the audience, killing 1 attendee and critically injuring 2 others. Immediately after Crooks began firing, Secret Service agents responded swiftly. They fatally shot Crooks before he could fire more rounds or cause further harm. In the subsequent investigation, law enforcement found bomb-making materials in Crooks' car, indicating he might have had additional malicious intentions. While Donald Trump was being assisted to be taken to the hospital, Donald Trump raised his fist after being shot at the rally as an act of defiance and to project strength and resilience to his supporters. This moment quickly became a defining image of his campaign, widely shared and discussed in the media, and was seen by many as a symbol of his resilience. The photograph of him raising his fist, with blood on his face, was described as a powerful piece of photojournalism and was predicted to have a significant impact on his campaign and public image. Who is Thomas Matthew Crooks? Thomas Matthew Crooks, a 20-year-old from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, was identified as the gunman in the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump on July 13, 2024. Crooks, who lived with his parents, was a registered Republican and had no significant history of political activism. His father is a registered Republican, while his mother is a registered Democrat. Crooks graduated from Bethel Park High School in 2022 and was known for his intelligence, particularly in math and science, even receiving a $500 award from the National Math and Science Initiative. Despite his academic achievements, he was described by classmates as a quiet individual who kept to himself and did not express strong political views. His interests were mainly in building computers and gaming. Despite his one-time donation to a liberal voter turnout project, authorities have not determined a clear political motive behind his actions. The FBI continues to investigate the incident and Crooks' background to understand his motivations. Thomas Matthew Crooks visited the Donald Trump rally location twice. His cell phone contained images of both Trump and President Joe Biden, and the would-be assassin search history included dates of the Democratic National Convention, as well as future Trump events, 3 U.S. officials told CNN. The officials said there is still not a clear motive for the assassination attempt, according to lawmakers. In the briefings, the department has not found political or ideological information about the suspect at the shooter's home. Lawmakers on the calls told CNN that the Secret Service and FBI officials provided new details on Crooks' mental state and actions. instructions before he shot at Trump on Saturday, though many expressed dissatisfaction at what they were told to explain how Crooks was able to fire multiple shots at Trump. Two sources on the call also said briefers told lawmakers that the shooter visited the rally location twice after the Butler rally was announced, including on the day of the shooting. Based on cell phone data, it was estimated that the shooter was there for 70 minutes. Law enforcement sources briefed on the investigation told CNN that in addition to the photos of Trump and Biden, the shooter's phone also contained pictures of congressional leaders, such as House Speaker Mike Johnson and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. There were also pictures of other politicians across the political spectrum, including Rudy Giuliani, the former Trump attorney involved in the effort to overturn the 2020 presidential election, and Fani Willis, the Fulton County District Attorney who is prosecuting both Trump and Giuliani. Almost all of the pictures appeared to have been downloaded from the internet and were not accompanied by any threatening language or messages. What were the chances of Donald Trump winning before the incident? To understand whether this incident was staged or not, we have to examine the public poll results of the USA before this rally was held. Before the assassination attempt on July 13, 2024, public polls showed that Donald Trump and Joe Biden were closely matched in the race for the presidency. In a morning consult poll conducted just before the incident, Trump was leading Biden by a narrow margin of 1%, with 46% to Biden's 45%. This represented a slight increase from a previous survey where Trump led by 2%, 44% to 42%. In battleground states, the dynamics varied. In Virginia, Biden led by 5 points, but Trump's position improved slightly among independents after the assassination attempt, pulling the race to a tie. In Georgia, Trump consistently led by 6 points both before and after the incident. The public's perception of Trump did not see a significant boost following the assassination attempt. Despite expectations from some analysts that the event might unite the country behind Trump, most polls did not show a substantial change in his favor. This close race and the slight fluctuations indicate that while the assassination attempt did draw some temporary sympathy and minor shifts, it did not drastically alter the overall standings in the presidential race. The blame game. Lots of fingers were raised on the inefficiency of Secret Service officials, and this is what the authorities said about the incident. The lawmaker said that officials leading the investigation into Trump's assassination attempt tried to pass the blame by saying that local law enforcement was responsible for the outer layer, where Crooks was stationed with an AR-15 style rifle. They talked about the layering. The Secret Service is the first layer, the second layer is federal law enforcement of multiple different agencies, and that third layer is local law enforcement. We all know that as a structure of how things work on it. But then they try to say, hey, that was the outer layer. That's really a local law enforcement issue, he said. The U.S. Secret Service recently responded to a Washington Post report that claimed the agency's top officials repeatedly denied requests to former President Trump's security detail. According to the report, agents tasked with protecting Trump requested additional security resources in the past. These requests involved things such as magnetometers or a larger number of personnel to screen guests. Additional snipers had also reportedly been requested in the past. Senior officials reportedly told the agents that the Secret Service lacked the resources to fulfill the requests. Investigations into the breakdowns that led to Trump being shot are underway by both the FBI and a congressional committee. Questions have already been raised about a potential lack of communication between the state, local, and federal workers who were charged with protecting Trump. Amid numerous reports, members of the crowd saw Crooks on a rooftop and warned officials. In addition, there has been finger-pointing between the different levels of law enforcement that were on the scene. However, witnesses reported seeing the shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks, on the roof of a nearby building before the assassination attempt on Donald Trump at his rally. Several attendees tried to alert police and Secret Service agents to the presence of a man with a rifle crawling up the roof. Despite these warnings, the gunman was able to fire shots before being neutralized by Secret Service agents. A witness, Greg Smith, told BBC News that he also saw that the suspected shooter had crawled to the top of the building, which was located outside the event, but had a straight view of the stage where Trump was speaking, backed by an audience of rally supporters. He said he alerted police to the gunman, but was confused when Trump carried on with his remarks. I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? The next thing you know, 5 shots ring out. Another witness, David James Stewart, told Axios he was trying to get a view of the rally after clocking off from his shift at a nearby convenience store and was standing right next to the building the shooter had scaled. Stewart told the outlet that he was taking video at the time and turned his camera upward when the the shooting started. Following the shooting, authorities seized his video, he said, and he was taken by Homeland Security to a building for questioning. He claimed law enforcement told him that 18 witnesses were brought in and asked to share their recollections with local police and federal agents. It's unclear how many witnesses at the rally were actually questioned, and how many will be questioned by authorities in the days and weeks to come. President Joe Biden, who is running against Trump, was briefed on the incident and spoke to Trump several hours after the shooting, the White House said. "There's no place in America for this type of violence," the president said in public remarks. "It's sick. It's sick." There have been no credible sources or evidence suggesting that President Joe Biden planned or was involved in the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Such a claim would be extraordinarily serious and would require substantial evidence to support it. As of now, the investigation into the assassination attempt has focused on the actions and background of Thomas Matthew Crooks, the shooter, and there have been no links or accusations involving Biden in any credible reports. Why does this incident look staged? The biggest reason why this incident looked staged is that Donald Trump very quickly saved himself from the shot and just had minor injuries, whereas one of the bystanders died in this shooting. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro identified the victim who was shot and killed as Corey Comparatore, 50, of Sarver, Pennsylvania. Shapiro said Comparatore died a hero protecting his family. Shapiro has ordered flags to be flown at half-staff in honor of Comparatore, a firefighter who leaves behind a wife and 2 daughters. In a post to his Truth Social network, Trump said a bullet pierced the upper part of his right ear. "I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin," Trump wrote. "Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening." Now, let's examine what are the other theories that can explain why this incident looks staged. Some of these conspiracy theories centered on the alleged security failings, with social media users questioning how such a thing could happen. It looks very staged. Nobody in the crowd is running or panicking. Nobody in the crowd heard an actual gun. "I don't trust it. I don't trust him," read a post that received millions of views. Moreover, these conspiracy theories were further compounded by the photographs and videos that later came out. In particular, one photograph showed the former US president's fist raised, having blood on his face and ear, while the US flag can be seen in the background. The image was just too damn perfect, a US-based YouTuber stated, and further emphasized how they managed to get the flag positioned perfect in everything. However, this post, which received nearly 1 million views, was later removed by the person who shared it. In short, there are 5 major reasons why this incident looks staged. Timing and political gain. Theory. Some believe the timing of the incident, just before the Republican National Convention, was orchestrated to boost Trump's image and garner sympathy. Reasoning. The dramatic nature of the event and Trump's subsequent portrayal as a resilient leader who survived an assassination attempt could be seen as a way to rally support and solidify his base. Security lapses. Theory. The perceived security lapses, such as the inability to prevent the shooter from getting into position and firing multiple shots, are seen by some as intentional to create a dramatic scenario. Reasoning. Critics argue that the Secret Service should have been more effective, and the fact that warnings from attendees were not heeded fuels suspicion. Shooter's background. Theory. The shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks, had no clear political motive or strong affiliations, leading some to speculate that he was a pawn in a larger scheme. Reasoning. The lack of a clear motive and the discovery of bomb-making materials in his vehicle have led to questions about his true intentions and who might have influenced or directed him. Witness accounts. Theory. Conflicting witness accounts and the time it took for authorities to respond to warnings have raised doubts about the official narrative. Reasoning. Some witnesses reported seeing the shooter and trying to alert security well before the shots were fired, leading to speculation that the response was intentionally delayed. Media coverage. Theory. The extensive and sympathetic media coverage of Trump following the incident is seen by some as part of a coordinated effort to use the event for political gain. Reasoning. The focus on Trump's resilience and the dramatic images of him raising his fist have been used to suggest that the media was complicit in framing the narrative favorably for Trump. U.S. President Joe Biden, on July 21st, announced that he is ending his re-election campaign amid growing calls within his Democratic Party for his stepping down. Mr. Biden, in a post on X, said he will remain as president until his term ends in January 2025 and will address the nation this week. Within 30 minutes of his announcement, he endorsed his Vice President Kamala Harris for the Democratic nomination, leaving no room for any doubt about the way forward for the Democrats. "It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president, and while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term," Mr. Biden wrote. By dropping his re-election bid, Mr. Biden clears the way for Vice President Kamala Harris to run at the top top of the ticket, the first black woman to do so in the country's history. The current obsession with polls revolves around two basic premises. Biden is old, and a lot of voters would prefer a younger alternative. Fair enough, but that doesn't have much meaning if Biden is committed to running, and he is, along with the almost equally old and more bedraggled Trump. How is Trump's health now? On Saturday, new details about the injury were released by Rep. Ronnie Jackson, who was previously Trump's White House physician. Jackson said he has treated Trump daily since the shooting. Trump is doing well, and he is recovering as expected from the gunshot wound sustained last Saturday afternoon, Jackson said in a memo. Jackson said the bullet that injured Trump came less than 1/4 of an inch from entering his head and hit the top of his right ear, causing a 2 cm wound. The wound is healing properly and swelling has resolved, but a dressing is still required because of occasional bleeding. What do you think about this failed assassination? Do you think the suspicion around this incident is legit? Let us know about your thoughts in the comments section, and don't forget to subscribe to the Sinister Syndicate for much such true crime stories. Thanks for watching.